The more complex the calculation problem, the more you should think about whether it can be solved using a simpler method. Never try to force your way through the calculation. Let's observe together and see if these fractional numbers are all particularly large, really large. I've said it before, never try to calculate it the hard way. Observe, first of all, hey, are these fractions mixed numbers? Look, it has very distinct features. There's a 2008 in the front, a 2008 in the back, and a 2008 in the numerator as well. So what does that prove? First, convert the mixed numbers into improper fractions. All right, let's take the first step. Look here and then look at the back part. Aren't those also very large numbers? You can't possibly multiply them all out and then add or subtract them. So let's observe. Look, 987, 987, the top is 655 and the bottom is 654. In simplified calculations, do we know something called what? Break down the larger one, keep the smaller one. Which larger one should we break down? Shouldn't we break down 655? If we break it down into 654 plus 1, isn't that 655? All right, now that we have the approach, let's start writing it down. Don't calculate the division first, just leave it as it is. First, convert the mixed number into an improper fraction. In other words, don't multiply it out yet, just express it first. 2008 multiplied by the denominator 2009 plus the numerator 2008. Okay, having written that down, now for the next part, we'll change it, but the denominator remains the same because we are breaking down the larger one and keeping the smaller one. 987 multiplied by 654 plus 666. For the numerator, shall we break it down into 987 multiplied by the quantity 654 plus 1 minus 321? Next, let's look at this. When you encounter division with fractions, first convert the division into multiplication. All right, 2008 multiplied by dividing by a number is equal to multiplying by the reciprocal of that number. Definitely don't calculate it out. If we factor out the common factor 2008, then doesn't the numerator become, at this point, we factor out a common factor, which is 2008. All right, dividing by a number is equal to multiplying by the reciprocal of that number, right? All right, moving the numerator to the denominator. When we move it to the denominator, both have a 2008, so we factor out a 2008 multiplied by. All right, doesn't the first term become 2009 plus 1, and then doesn't the numerator become 2009? All right, then next, add the following term. The denominator remains unchanged, 987 multiplied by 654 plus 666. Come on, let's look at the numerator again. Using the distributive property of multiplication, distribute it. 987 multiplied by 654, okay, plus 987 minus 321. Subtract the integers to see what it equals. Isn't it exactly plus 666? All right, so now let's see if we can simplify the fraction. Come on, can't we simplify 2008 with the 2008 in the denominator? So at this point, doesn't the denominator become 2010 and the numerator become 2009? All right, plus, let's see. At this point, aren't the numerator and the denominator the same? So if they are the same, isn't it just 1? So isn't the final result very simple? 1 and 2009 over 2010. Did you learn it?